Hey, this is Bill Burniston. I'm coming from the Performance Academy, here to talk to you a little bit about an active warm-up and how it relates to baseball. I have Coach Anthony with me today. He'll be our demonstrator. One thing that we have to understand is that an active warm-up is designed to get us ready for activity, get our nervous system excited about playing the game of baseball. There are many different variations that we can have. This is just our variation. Feel free to change it any way you'd like. But one of the things that it needs to have is, one, it's got to have a general warm-up. Two, it has to have a specific warm-up, and part of that specific warm-up is getting our rotator cuff ready to throw baseballs. One of the things that we have an issue with is athletes, particularly baseball players, picking up baseballs to warm up their arms. Arms are not ready to throw baseballs. We need to make sure that we do some type of warm-up prior to it, and then we can get into doing our long toss program. The exercise that we're going to go over is one of our stationary exercises. So this next series is really called our stationary series. The first exercise that we're going to do is just a regular squat. And we're going to do 10 squats. And as Anthony comes down here, we make sure that our glutes, we hinge our hips back, we drive our hips back, and then we drive through the heels on the way up. We want to try to do this in a quick tempo. So we're going to be much faster with it. Toes trying to go straight ahead, driving through. Chest always remains up. We drive through our heels. As part of our stationary series is just a regular jumping jack. Make sure that we start with our feet together, hands down by our side. Now, being baseball players, we want to make sure that we get full range of motion up and over our top of our head. So let's go ahead and do 10 jumping jacks. Good. The next exercise that's part of our stationary series is what we call a seal jump. What we're going to do is start with our feet together, hands in front. We're going to make sure that when we bring our arms out, we get a good stretch in our anterior shoulder, and we're going to bring our hands back together with a good clap. Here we go, 10 seal jumps. The next exercise that we're doing in our stationary series is what we call bent over rotations. One of the reasons why we have to add this bent over rotation, what we do, is because our sport is a rotational sport. We need to make sure that we can get good range of motion in our thoracic spine as well as our core. So we do get a little bit of movement in the lumbar spine, but we really want to try to get as much as we can in the upper back. So what we're going to do here is just go 5 to each side on our rotations with a good tempo. We want to make sure that we don't force anything, but we want to make sure that we get a good range of motion here. Excellent. Our workout, where our warm-up really looks like a general warm-up, and that's exactly what it is. We want to try to get the distance. We always like to use the number of 30 yards, and that reasoning behind that is on a big league field, it's 90-foot bases, so we try to go 30 yards each direction with each one of our warm-ups. The first one that we're going to do in our general warm-up is just a regular jog. The next part of our general warm-up, we go into what we refer to as a skipping series. A skipping movement is a very elementary-like movement, but one thing that it does is it excites our nervous system. So that's why we put our skipping series into our program. Now, just for the purposes of this video, there's actually 3 skips that we do. We do a low skip, we do a medium skip, and we do a high skip. For all intents and purposes, they're exactly the same, except your trail leg just comes up a little bit higher. So Anthony's just going to go down and do a regular low skip for us. Just for the purposes of the video, he will not be doing the medium or the high skip. But we can understand what we're doing. We're just changing the amplitude, and we're going a little bit harder. So low skip. Hey, the next part of this warm-up is going to be our side shuffle with arm action. We always like to try to add arm action with our athletes. So again, we're going to go down 30 yards, but we're going to rotate after about 15 yards. So we're going to lead with the right leg, then we're going to rotate after about 15 yards, and we're going to lead with the left leg. Rotate. The exercise that we do in our general warm-up is karaoke. Notice that in the karaoke, we're going to do the same exact thing we did for the side shuffle, leading with the left leg or the right leg for 15 yards, and then we rotate direction. Notice the amount of range of motion that Anthony's going to get in his upper and lower extremity. As baseball players, it's very important that we can create upper and lower extremity, we go in opposite directions. That helps us create torque, and it allows us to hit and throw. Here we go. Exercise is what we refer to as a retro run. It's really a backwards run or a backwards cycle. Notice how Coach Anthony brings his heels to his bottom and he reaches all the way back as he goes into this backwards run. Exercise in our general warm-up is a straight leg march. This is a great exercise for the hamstrings. Now once we get about 15 yards in, what we're going to do is add a skip to that as well. So straight leg march. Make sure that you go opposite arm, opposite leg. It's an exercise that we like to call the gold medal stretch. It was actually developed for the USA baseball team. So what we actually do here is as we go through this, there are many, many components. So this is something that's probably our most complex stretch that we do, but it's also one of the best stretches that we do. So we're going to start off taking a knee, and we're going to reach back, get our hamstring, get our calf here, grabbing the ankle, and we get a good stretch in the front quad with that. So it's a quad stretch to start off. We're going to return this leg back down. We're going to come up into a lunge position. We're going to take the same side elbow as the leg that's out in front. We're going to try to put it down into our instep. So we're getting some very good range of motion and some rotation in this thoracic spine. From that point, we're going to bring this arm back out. Hands are up. We're going to actually straighten out this leg and get a great hamstring stretch right in here. Make sure that you get that toe up position. From that position, we return to the lunge. And then we're going to actually rotate away from this back leg, getting a stretch all the way through into the hip flex. This exercise that we do is just a knee hug. And I'm going to actually walk with Coach Anthony here just to point out a couple of things. On this knee hug, we want to make sure that we don't lean backwards. We want to make sure that we think about somebody pulling us straight up from the top. So we're getting nice and tall, bringing that knee up to our chest, and we want to make sure that we remain with a toe up position. We're going to bring that all the way down, the toe up position. Gets a little bit more baseball specific. So along with that warm-up, what we're going to actually do here is we're going to do something that's a secondary lead into a steal. Now we do 3 or 4 of these, and what we try to do is we go first time 60%, 70% the second time, and then 80 to 85% the third time. So we're just going to show you one just for the purpose of the video. So Anthony gets in his good athletic stance, gets into his secondary lead, so he's going to shuffle, shuffle. Then he crosses over and springs. The next exercise that we do in our specific baseball warm-up is just a straight steal. So in essence, this is a sprint from our steal position, and we're going to do 3 of these again, right? First one's going to be about 70%, second one's going to be 80%, third one's going to be 90 to 100%. When we're done with this exercise, we're almost ready to play some baseball. Next part of our exercise, this still falls into our specific warm-up, and the thing that we need to really make sure of is that we warm up the rotator cuff before we throw a baseball. Baseball is a traditional sport. It's based on tradition, and for years athletes have been picking up baseballs and throwing them to warm up. We can't just pick up a baseball and throw. We need to make sure that the rotator cuff is ready to go. So the first exercise we're going to do is something that we call scapular retraction. We're going to get in a good athletic stance. We're going to lean over slightly. We're going to start with our palms up, and we're going to squeeze our shoulder blades together just for 5. So it's just a shoulder blade movement. After our 5 reps here, we're going to make our palms face each other. And then we're going to go palms down. 5 reps of each. And again, just for the purposes of the video, we're doing about 3 or 4 reps here. Next part of our specific warm-up for our rotator cuff is we're going to get in a good athletic stance. We're going to actually bend over a little bit at the waist. Shoulder blades are going to come back. These are our Y's, T's, W's, and L's from a standing position. We're going to start off hands overhead, palms facing each other. We're in that Y position. We're going to squeeze those shoulder blades for 5. Remember, it's all about squeezing those shoulder blades together. From that point, we're going to bring this into the T position, and we're going to squeeze those shoulder blades. Want to make sure that we don't hike our shoulders up into what we refer to as a shrug. And then we're going to go right into W's. And from the W's, we go into the L's. Good. The exercise we go into as part of our throwing routine prior to picking up a ball is we get into what we call a thrower's prayer. You want to make sure that the forearm touches, your elbows can touch, palms together. We're going to slowly raise our hand above our head. Try to get as much range of motion as you can. Everybody's going to vary here, but the key is to make sure that you keep those forearms and those elbows together. You're going to feel a stretch in the shoulder. Our next exercise for our rotator cuff is going to be our standing arc series. And what we do from this arc series, we're going to start off with our palms together, that same athletic position as we had. We're going to come up above our head. We're going to go palm to palm. We can increase the speed with this as we get better at it. From palm to palm, we're then going to go palm to thumb. And then from palm to thumb, we're going to go palm to the back of our hand. Once again, for video purposes, we're only doing 2 to 4 reps. What we want to do 5 reps of each and make them in sequence. As part of this, you would actually pick up a baseball, get with your partner, and go into your throwing progression, whether it's an interval throwing program or whether you're doing long toss, whatever that might be, but now your arm is ready to throw. Make sure you get a couple of feet away, get your good warm-up in, increase the distance and the amplitude and the velocity as you get a little more warm.